हरकत नाही ना. आज पाटील सर नाही आहेत का?
पाटील सर येतील सर, जॉईन
बर,
होतील.
ठीक आहे, हरकत नाही. चालू करूया आपण.
चालेल सर, चालेल. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. A warm welcome to all dignitaries, guests, and delegates. With great joy and immense exultation, I feel privileged to extend my warm welcome to all presented here for the today's guest lecture. This lecture is organized under Indian Society of Structural Engineer Students Chapter. I welcome Mr. Shantilal Jain, President of ISSC Mumbai. I welcome Mr. Hemant Wadalkar, Secretary of ISSC Mumbai. Further, I welcome our today's chief guest, Engineer Swapnil Kamirkar sir. I welcome all departmental heads and teaching staff of Walchand College of Engineering Sangli. Also, I welcome Mr. Madhav Chikodi sir, member of Technical Committee ICC Student Chapter. I welcome Mayur Tambe sir, member of ICC Student Chapter. At the last but not the least, I welcome all participants gathered here for today's webinar. I am Jayesh with my coordinating team. Welcome you all on behalf of Walchand College of Engineering Sangli. Our today's guest lecture is on introduction of post-tension system and its application. So now I invite Mayur Kale for a brief introduction of our institute and our guest. Over to you, Mayur.
Hello. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes, Mayur. Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mayur, and it's great pleasure for me to introduce our speaker today. First, I will start with introducing our institute, Walchand College of Engineering, Sangli. Walchand College of Engineering is situated midway between Sangli and Miraj cities at Vishrambagh, Sangli. The Walchand College of Engineering campus is located on about 90 acres of land on southern side of Sangli-Miraj Road. In 1947, the college made a modest beginning as new engineering college with a single program leading to Bachelor of Engineering Civil degree. In the year 1955, the college renamed as Walchand College of Engineering as part of the new arrangement and pursuant to the rehabilitation and development program mainly funded by said Walchand Hirachand Memorial Trust and the government. The government appointed an ad hoc committee for conducting the college from May 1955, later replaced by the Administrative Council in 1956. The ad hoc committee added 2 more degree programs in Bachelor of Engineering Mechanical and Bachelor of Engineering Electrical in 1955 with the intake of 20 each. 3 diploma programs also started in 1955, that is civil with the intake of 40 and mechanical and electrical with intake of 20 each. Currently, our civil engineering department is having 1 UG course, that is Bachelor of Civil Engineering, and 2 PG course, that is Civil Structural Engineering with intake of 32 and Environmental Engineering with intake of 18. In addition, the department is having PhD Research Center. In our department, quality improvement programs, QIP facilities are also available. That is all about our prestigious institute and department. Now moving further, I would like to introduce to all our today's guest speaker. SCON Infrastructure commenced its operation in 2009 with a vision of developing business of infrastructure sector in India. The company has acquired an outstanding record in providing innovative skills and techniques to civil engineering and building industries with successful completion of wide range of projects, some of which includes NMMC head office in Belapur, Treasure Island Mall Bhilai, Sri Cement head office in Raipur, Arch Cable Stay Bridge in Bhopal, Mahatma Mandir Stay Cable Bridge in Gujarat, post-tension raft of Nauruz Tower in Oman, and so on. Presently, SCON is specialized in the field of pre-stress slab, stay cable bridges, rock anchoring, expansion joints, bridge bearing, and rehabilitation of bridge. Company has a staff of over 200 people and annual turnover of the company is 40 crores. Team members and engineers of this company are having sound knowledge and experience in the requisite field. So one of them is presenting today's seminar. Engineer Swapnil Kamarkar sir is prestige structural design engineer with experience of 12 years in the field. He is also a member of Institution of Engineers India. He is currently working with SCON Infrastructure as a senior design engineer. Today, Swapnil Kamarkar sir is going to talk to us about introduction of post-tension system and its application. On behalf of all the participants and faculties, I welcome you, sir, for today's session, and I wish all the participants very informative, knowledgeable, and an interactive session. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Okay.
Hello everyone. Thank you Mayur for introducing me and my company. Now I'll start with my presentation. My screen is visible to everyone?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. One second. I'll start with my presentation of post-tension system. Now, in building as well as in bridge, almost 60 to 70% commercial and industrial building construction are done in post-tension only. So now we'll step by step see the information of the post-tension system. Basically, pre-stress system, there are two type of systems, pre-tension and the post-tension. In today's presentation, we'll mainly focus on post-tension only. Further in post-tension, there are two type of system, bonded and unbonded. We'll see first the difference between pre-tension and post-tension, followed by the difference between bonded and unbonded. In pre-tension, basically it's a precast member, mostly casted in precasting yard or in factory premises. Whereas in post-tension system, it is cast in situ, casted on site itself. In pre-tension, tendon is stressed first and concreting is done afterward. And when concrete achieved is sufficient strength, the strand, pre-stress strand is released from its abandonment end so that stress will get transferred to the concrete. But in case of post-tension system, concreting is done first and pre-stressing is done afterward. In case of RCC member, if you see the right side figure, in case of RCC slab, when load is applied, the slab get deflected and concrete get cracked. But in case of post tension, when we fully stress the tendon and if there is no load, the member or the slab will go in hugging stage. And when further load is applied to this slab, it will come to its original position. The basic difference between bonded and unbonded system. As the name suggests, bonded system contain bond between tendon and its surrounding concrete. And this bond basically achieved through the grouting operation. In case of unbonded system, there is no such a bond between tendon and surrounding concrete. In bonded strand, there is a PE coating, and between strand and PE coating, there is a grease fill. This grease fill do the work of corrosion protection as well as it allows tendon to freely elongate. Also in bonded system, all the strands, some strands are placed together and anchored together. But in case of unbonded strand, individual strand have its own anchor locking system. We'll see it in next slide. These are the components of bonded PT system. Anchor cone, bearing plate and wedges. These three components form the anchor system. And below are the air vent grout pipe, HDP pipe through which a tendon is installed. And last one is a bare stand. The stand come in a roll form. As per our requirement, we cut down it in the pieces. If you see the bearing plate, there are two type of bearing plate, 4-hole and 5-hole. Means in this bearing plate we can pass 4 strand and below one we can pass 5 strand. Other systems are also there, up to 19 strand systems are there. This is a complete bonded system anchorage assembly. If you observe, there are two type of two ends. One is live end and other is dead end. The live end is an end from which we do the stressing activity, and dead end is the end which is anchored or locked inside the peripheral edge beam at the other side. And this dead end is formed by twisting the strand with the help of looping jack. Next is the component of unbonded systems. As you see, individual strand have its own anchorage locking system. The size of this anchor cone, means anchor system, is comparatively very small to that bonded system. These are the equipment which used during installation process. First one is stressing jack. This jack is having capacity of applying load of almost 25 to 30 ton, and this jack is connected to this hydraulic power pump with the help of hose pipe. And the last, dead end jack, is a jack which used for form dead end, ballooning end. And this is the grout pump. With the help of this, we can do pressure grouting. It contains mixer, agitator, and one gauge to show the pressure applied. Now we'll see the step-by-step procedure which follows on the side. I have downloaded one video from internet. It is very good video for educational purpose. We'll go through it. First, casting of column is done. Then we start with the installation of shuttering work. This shuttering work is almost same which we use in our regular RCC work. When bottom shuttering laying is done, side shuttering laying is done, we'll proceed with installation of bottom reinforcement. In side language, it's called also as a bottom jali. After that, we install edge beam. This edge beam is used for anchoring of our anchor cone. Then extra bottom reinforcement followed by punching shear reinforcement. This punching shear reinforcement is mainly used in flat slab construction. Then installation of chairs. These chairs are useful for tendon profiling. Each chairs have its different height. Then installation of tendons. The tendon is not in a straight form, it is in a wavy form. And this curvature follows the bending moment diagram. If it is two-way slab, then tendon will be in both direction. For one way, it is only in one direction. Then installation of grouting pipe for grouting purpose. Installation of top extra reinforcement. Now our installation is completed. We can go ahead with concreting. Once concreting is done and if sufficient strength is achieved, almost 75% strength, then we de-shutter the side shutter and we remove the pocket former and we install bearing plates and wedges. This is basically a locking system. And then we mark initial marking and we start with stressing operation. While stressing, we measure the elongation as well as the pressure applied. Once successful stressing is completed, we can cut down the extra strand and the pocket created can be filled with a mortar. Now we'll proceed with grouting operation. Before grouting, we clean the this HDP pipe, hose pipe with air blow or the water pressure. Followed by actual grouting operation. We do the pressure grouting. We pass the grout from one end until it's come from the other end with sufficient pressure. Then we break down this extra air vent pipe which comes out of the slab. Now all the activities are completed for this current slab. Now we can proceed with de-shuttering of this slab and we can proceed with casting of upper floor slab. Procedure is same for upper floor slab. Okay, that's it. We'll proceed further. This is actual site photograph of the bonded system. You might have seen a red strip that's below the slab. Okay, that strips indicates the location of these tendons. This is site photograph of unbonded system. Actually, this site is construction of swimming pool. All the beam are inverted and slab is at the bottom. I think it's hang. One second. Now we'll see the advantages of post-tension system. Because of post-tension, we get longer span. Normally span ranging from 7 meter up to 12 meter flat slab without any beam. From 12 to 20 meter, we can go with voided slab. And with PT beam, we can go up to 45 meter. Because of PT, we get thinner section. Dimension of the beam or the slab can be reduced up to 40 to 50%. Because of reduction in sections, we get more clear height, clear headroom. And if we do all slabs in PT, we get shorter building height, which ultimately saving in glass facade or in building external cladding. Because of reduction in dimension, we get reduction in building weight. So this improves our seismic performance. Because of pre-stress, we get faster construction cycle. Almost on 10th day after casting, we can de-shutter our entire slab. Because of reduction in size, we get saving in concrete. Strand replaces conventional RCC reinforcement, so we get saving in RCC reinforcement. Now we'll see some special project done by Escon Infra. PT Raft. This is the Nauras Tower building in Oman. This is the first raft for Oman also. It's building having very large area. The main problem was there is a low soil bearing capacity. SBC is very low. And when consultant designed it in RCC, the depth of the raft coming around almost 1.4 meter, which is very huge for such a large area. And also there is high consumption of RCC reinforcement as well as concrete. So we have proposed them PT raft. Because of PT raft, depth get reduction. There is a reduction in a depth, almost 800 mm thick raft we have done. Also, there is considerable saving in concrete as well as in the reinforcement. Indirectly, we save the cost of excavation. This is the basic concept of PT raft. In the raft below the column, there is a high concentration of stress. To distribute this stress uniformly, in RCC, we need to increase raft thickness. But if you go with PT, with much lesser thickness, we can effectively distribute stress throughout the raft. At the right side, you will see two figures. One is regular PT slab and PT raft. You can see the tendon profile difference between both of these. Both are exactly opposite to each other. Tendon profile basically follows the bending moment diagram. Nauras raft. Entire area we have divided in 4 parts, and this 4 part is separated by the pore strip. This pore strip is used for stressing purpose. This is the side photograph of excavation. Then we do the rubber soling and PCC. You can see there is a band. It is mainly used for to solve purpose of or the problem of punching shear. Then we use a plastic sheet. This sheet is basically used to reduce friction between bottom of raft and the PCC because when we apply pre-stressing force to raft, because of compression, horizontal compression, the raft having some elastic shortening. Okay, to reduce restraint to this elastic shortening, we use this plastic sheet. This is the profiling of the raft. This is the pore strip gallery from which we have done our stressing activity. After that, we did the elongations. Another raft we have done in Nashik. This site is comparatively small in area. The main problem was there is a non-uniform SBC. In some portion of the raft, there is a very hard rock strata, and in some other portion, it is very soft. Okay, when we design it in RCC, the depth of the raft is too high. So to excavate this hard rock, it is involve huge cost. Also, it is time consuming. Also, there is a high water pressure. To overcome all this problem, we propose them a PT raft. Because of PT raft, there is reduction in raft depth. Also, PT raft is good in resisting water pressure, ground water pressure. We have saved in concrete, we have saved in reinforcement as well as in excavation. This is the plan of Nashik raft. Now next is the hybrid system. In some project, we have used both the system, bonded and unbonded. Both system we have used simultaneously. One project we have done in Goa, it is hotel project. Main problem is that client need, it's a girder beam, PT girder beam, and size is very restricted by architect. Okay, so for 20-meter span, a large number of strands are coming. So to incorporate in very small size of beam, what we do, we provided bonded anchors in a web of the beam, and the remaining strand in form of unbonded system we provided in flange of the beam. You can see it in below photograph also. This is the plan of that building. There are total 6 girders, from which floating column is also taken out for supporting upper floors. Above there are hotel rooms. This is actual site photograph. Both the system are placed together inside the beam. Next is a voided slab. Sometimes if the slab is bigger and client want to do it in without beam, we have proposed PT raft. One project in Regency Servam at Titwaya. Span length was almost 20 meter by 45 meter. The voided slab is done basically to reduce weight of the slab. This is basic concept. In between concrete, we have placed void filler. There are many form of void filler. You can use plastic mold or anything. We have used a thermocol because it is very economic. While designing, you need to find out reduction in area, reduction in volume, also reduction in stiffness. This is a software model of that building. In maroon color boxes, you can see these are the void formers. This is actual site photograph of the voided slab. Okay, basically concreting is done in 2 layers. First we casted bottom layer, then we place our boxes, thermocol boxes as per drawing, and then we proceed with the next layer of concreting. And while in running concreting, we have placed a top reinforcement. For this type of construction, skill teamwork is required. Another slab we have done in Marl. The slab grid was 18 by 18 meter. Same type of construction was done. Next is a transfer girder with the opening. In one of the project in Lucknow, basically it's a hotel project, and on second floor, if you see this plan, on second floor, there is a transfer girder from which floating column is taken out to support the upper building, upper almost 6 to 7 floors floated from this girder beam. Okay, the depth of this beam, actually span of beam was around 20 meter and depth is coming around 4 meter. So it is almost consuming entire floor height, and that floor become unusable. So what we have proposed, we have introduced opening at the midspan of the girder so that person can travel from one end of the building to the other end. This is the side section of that girder beam. A maroon color box is a opening, and we have designed this beam in such a way that bottom chord is casted first, and it is designed as an individual beam, and stressing of that beam, the strand passes through that beam, is stressed first, and then we remove the bottom shuttering, and this bottom card will act as a shuttering for the casting of upper part of the beam. This is actual site photograph. You can see there is an opening, and we have detail with a crank bars. The bottom cord installation work is completed and it's ready for concreting. I don't have completed photographs. Okay. Now we'll proceed with external pre-stress. This is one of the building in Kalina in Mumbai. This is existing building done in PT. The new client, Kotak Mahindra Bank, purchased it from owner, and they found that there is a minor hairline crack at the bottom of the beam, PT beam. Also, their requirement of having additional load, which existing structure is unable to take. So we need to strengthen it. So we propose them to go ahead with external pre-stress. This is the plan of that building. There are total 4 number of PT beams. So at the midspan, we have installed reaction frame. In black color strip is reaction frames. This is the side section. From below, from bottom of the beam, we stress external pre-stress. See, this is the installation of reaction frame. Then we install the external pre-stress. Near the column junction, we incline drill to the slab, and tendon is taken out at the top of the slab, and small pocket is created from where we did our stressing operation. And after stressing is completed, we cut down the extra strand and pocket is filled. After successfully completion of external pre-stress, we have done the water load test to check the load carrying capacity after strengthening. Next, sometime what happened, client additional requirement come to cut down the existing PT slab. Sometimes they want to install a lift or staircase or any service duct. So it is possible to cut the existing PT slab. The methods are as follows. This is one of the building in Empire Plaza near Vikhroli, Mumbai. A client requirement is to install additional lift for the 7th floor. They have very big lobby area. This is the plan of that lobby. The red color is the new cutout required for the installation of lift. First, we strengthen that slab around the cutout. After that, we did the marking, and we drill some holes around the marking to confirm the location from the bottom of the slab. Then we cut down the slab with the help of diamond cutter machine. And then cutted piece we lower with the help of chain pulley. This is cutting is done. This is followed for above 7 floors. Now some interesting project done by Escon Infra. First one is NMMC head office building, which is situated in Belapur. The specialty of this building is it is having almost 45-meter clear span of girder beam, and above which 4 floors along with a dome is floated. The next is Treasure Island Mall in Bhilai. You can see 3D image versus actual construction. Next is Treasure Island Mall in Raipur. Now we'll proceed with one sample design using our PT software. These are some software available in market which is used for PT design. Each software have its own feature. As per requirement of project, we use this software. These are the design steps involved. First, you have to define the material. Then you have to define section member size like PT beam, slab, PT slab, etc. Then you have to apply codal provisions, what are the limitations, allowable limits. And then you have to define the grid, story height, and start with the modeling. In modeling, you have to proceed with column, beam, slab, tendon. And then you need to define a load, and then analysis, design, followed by the detailing and drawing. These are the useful code which is required for designing of PT slab. Out of it, IS 1343 is specifically for the PT design. Now I have taken one sample grid, 8 by 8 meter single span. There are 4 columns and 2 meter cantilever on all the sides. Commercial loading, I have taken 4 kilonewton live load and 3 kilonewton meter square SIDL. Our main motto is to find out slab thickness and to do PT tendon design as well as RCC reinforcement design. First step, we need to define material. In software, we can define, this is basically ADAS builder software. First, we need to define section reinforcement property, then concrete as well as strand property. After that, we need to define section of tendon, how much strand will inside the tendon and all that. Second, we need to define size of column, size of slab. Third one is defining codal provision, limitations, allowable concrete stresses, design code on which you need to design. Basically, there are 2 types of design, type 2 and type 3. Type 2 is basically a uncracked section, and type 3 is a cracked section with the allowable crack limit. Modeling. First, we need to model the columns, after that slab, and then tendons. This is actually a FEM based software, so we need to do a meshing, and then these are the design strips, column strip, middle strip in both the direction, X and Y. Then we need to define a loading, live load, dead load. After modeling is done, we'll do the analysis, and first we check the serviceability condition, that is deflection as well as stresses. If you see the deflection for dead load, live load and PT, it is almost 13.55 mm downward, and when we apply only PT, when there is a no load, you can see positive deflection almost 10 mm, 9.35 mm. This is a bending moment diagram. For dead and live, the bending moment diagram, and with pre-stress only, the pre-stress bending moment diagram is exactly opposite to dead and live load diagram. Similarly, this is a shear force diagram. Both are opposite to each other. Then this is the stress check, concrete stress. Upper one is direct stress P by A, and lower one is total concrete stresses for the bottom surface as well as for the top surface. The code has specified the allowable limit. We need to design in such a way that total concrete stress will be remain in permissible limit. This is a moment capacity of the section. This is actually a combined moment capacity, tendon and RCC reinforcement. If you see the moment capacity diagram, The light blue color is the negative bending moment, negative moment capacity, and the bottom one is light green color is the positive moment carrying capacity, and in middle there is a dark green color is the demand moment capacity, and dark blue color is the required negative demand moment. Now, after successful completion of analysis and design, we can proceed with a detailing. We need to prepare a drawing. And there are basically three types of drawings: PT slab, shuttering drawing. In shuttering drawing, we mention live load, dead load, as well as grade of concrete, grade of steel. Next is reinforcement drawing. All the non-PT reinforcement, RCC reinforcement, bottom reinforcement, top reinforcement, as well as if flat slab is there, punching shear reinforcement detail, as well as there some special detailing required to do in PT, called it as a busting reinforcement, because when we do the stressing operation, almost 14-ton load is applied, 14-ton pressure is applied to each strand, and if section of the concrete is very thin, then there is a high chance of busting over there. So to distribute this concentrated load uniformly, we need to provide busting reinforcement. Next is a tendon layout diagram. Okay, in plan as well as in vertical section also we need to provide. In tendon layout diagram, we also need to mention how much elongation is expected, how much length of strand is there, and at what spacing or at what location we need to provide, as well as the what system is used. Okay. That's it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your immense technical knowledge and experience. Your session was fully informative and motivative. Today we had an opportunity to hear your thoughts, experiences, and this will surely going to encourage us in our upcoming future events. Now let's begin with question and answer session. I request participant if they want to ask any question, they can unmute themselves and clear your doubts. Please feel free to ask your doubts.
Sir, whether the pre-stressing losses are considered? Hello.
Hello, sir. Bola.
Whether the pre-stressing losses are considered while
Yes.
analysis in the software?
Yes. There are total 6 type of losses, all that need to be calculated, because we have applied a design force of 14 ton, but actually tendon gets almost very less force, almost 20% reduction in losses are there. Due to losses, there is reduction of 20%. So that we need to calculate.
Means in the software there is a provision.
Yes, we need to input data. Like suppose we are using HDP sheathing duct. So HDP sheathing duct have its coefficients that we need to provide. Means we need to provide input data. Based on that, software calculate losses.
Yes, good. My second question is that for the pre-stress and post-tensioning, whether the amount of loss is same or it is different?
For pre-tensioning, the amount of loss is less compared to post-tension, because there are two types. If tendon is stressed, in pre-tension, basically tendon is straight. Okay, there is no profile. But in case of post-tension, as you seen in the video, there is a curvature. Because of curvature, the amount of loss is high in case of post-tension compared to pre-tension. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay.
What is the minimum grade of steel you recommend for reinforcement?
Reinforcement Fe 500, Fe 415 is okay, but the steel which we are going to use on site, that we need to use in our software also, because if you use higher grade of steel and while designing or while actual execution, if there is a low grade of steel, then there might be a problem. So
Yes,
that
yes.
steel should be same which we are going to use in site.
Normally it should be branded steel.
Yeah.
Okay.
In some project we have used Fe 550 also, 550D.
Sir, you have shown many photos of the pre-stressing of the, especially for the flat slab, if the
Okay.
elements are flat. Now my question is whether we can do the pre-stressing for the circular shape like a dome,
Yes.
is it possible?
Yes, it is possible, because if you have seen the big silos in atomic center, big silos are there, that all are in circular in shape. Okay.
Yes,
So
okay.
that can be possible. We have also done many circular arc beam.
Yes, okay. But in the case of dome shape, I think whenever we go for a curvature shape, mostly the stresses are compressive in nature.
Yes,
right?
yes. Yeah.
And our basic objective of doing pre-stressing, especially to reduce the flexural stresses, that if it is a flexural element, then it is most effective. But in the case of dome structure, why it is need to go for pre-stressing? Because shape itself is sufficient, I think.
Yes. But because of use of PT, the thickness will get reduced for if the diameter of dome is very big in that case.
Okay. That is for larger diameter we can.
Larger diameter, yeah. For a
For larger span, for larger span thickness, minimum thickness is also possible. Yes. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. And last question, sir. Sir, what is the filler material used?
Thermocol we have used, but you can use recycled plastic or any filler material you can use. But for economic purpose, we have used thermocol.
Is it durable that much?
Thermocol density and stiffness is not considered. While designing, we have considered pure cavity. It is just for filling. Yeah.
No, but in the case of bonded pre-stressing, thermocol, whether it is that much effectively bond with the cable?
No, bonding is not considered. And if you observe, we have placed tendon, bonded pre-stress. We have placed tendon, not means if you, one second, I'll show you the plan. One second. If you able to see this plan?
Yes, sir. We are seeing.
If you see, the green color is a void filler, and we have divided entire slab in a beam. Okay, hidden beam actually. This is the hidden beam, and in hidden beam we have provided bonded this tendon. Okay, and for this portion which is covered with the filler, there we have provided unbonded strands, single strands. So the bonding is for only limited to beam portion. Okay, in beam portion there is no filler.
Okay. Yes, okay, sir. Thank you.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir. From cost point of view. Hello, sir.
Yes,
from cost point of view, is it really preferable to use post tension rather using regular concrete?
Yes. It depends on your grid. From 8 meter onward, the post tension slab is economical. For small grid like a 5 meter, 4 meter, you should go ahead with RCC only. But as grid goes on increasing, no span of this beam or slab goes on
Yes, sir.
increasing,
Yes.
then saving
Yes.
will be goes on increasing. Almost basically 10% saving is there. Minimum 10% saving is there.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello, sir.
So,
Hello.
Yes.
Sir, in filler slab, the filler is provided as a sandwich, or it's open to the environment on one side.
Means top of the slab you're talking about?
Yes, we provide a thermocol, sir.
Uh-huh.
So you said we concrete in two stages.
Two
First,
stages.
yeah,
What?
first we concrete, then we provide filler material. But in photo, it was seen that on the filler there was a mesh provided of steel.
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And again,
Then
there will be a layer of concrete.
layer of concrete.
Ah.
Does that mean that it was the filler material is in between two concrete layers,
Yes,
sir?
yes, yes. Exactly, exactly. Two concrete layer, in between two concrete layer, a filler is placed. Like if you see this section, no? This section, this is the bottom layer of concrete. This is top layer of concrete. In between this filler box is placed.
Sir, but if we concrete in two stages, does there is any effect of old and new concreting? Means, is there a possibility of forming a crack between two concreting because we have different times for concreting?
No. Actually, concreting is done on the same day only. Okay. As soon as bottom layer is placed, side by side, we start with placing of thermocol. So there is not much a gap. Okay. Before setting of concrete only, we started second layer. You got it?
So
Yeah.
there was any
No
big
chance.
effect of that.
Yes. There is no problem.
Okay. Sir, also there's one question.
Mm-hmm.
In pre-tensioning and in post-tensioning,
Mm-hmm.
the pre-tensioning tendons will be straight, but in
Yes.
post-tensioning it was curved.
Curve. Yes.
Does it have any different effects in serviceability?
Yes. Actually, this post-tension curvature is specifically provided to tackle the bending moment. See, if you observe, one second. If you observe this profile, okay, near support it goes up, everywhere near support it goes up, and at the midspan it comes down. Okay, so what it does at the midspan, it tries to, when we stress from the both end, at the midspan it tries to lift the slab upward, and at the same time, because of we provided it at the top, it will try to push down the slab near support. So both the purpose will solve with the help of single tendon.
Okay. And in pre-tensioning, sir?
Pre-tensioning tendon is basically straight. Pre-tensioning, what happened? Individual beam or individual column, it is casted separately. So only straight cable is provided, and the direct stress, P by stress, is only applied. P by A stress is there, no direct stress. That is only applied. But in case of post tension, both the stress P by A, like horizontal stress, as well as this flexural stress, both stress are applied simultaneously. But in pre-tension, only P by A, horizontal stress is applied.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, does that mean in pre-tensioning member there is a possibility of a more deflection than post-tensioning member?
Actually, size of pre-tension member is very limited. Okay, we need to check it in design whether how much load carrying capacity of it. As per that, we restrict its size. Okay, so there is no chance. Means if you design properly, then there is no chance of getting deflected.
Okay, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sir. Now I invite Rushikesh Jadhav
Hmm.
for the vote of thanks. Rushikesh, over to you.
Thank you, Jayesh. I, Rishikesh Jadhav, on behalf of all participants and faculties, first of all, I would like to thank our today's speaker, Engineer Swapnil Kamarkar sir, for delivering such an informative, knowledgeable, and interactive session on introduction of post-tension system and its in application, in which following you clear the following concepts like post-tension system, hybrid post-tension system, voided slabs, existing post-tension slab cutting methods with the help of actual various softwares available for analysis design of post-tension slab with the help of various IS codes. You also explain with the help of actual existing projects which will helpful to clear our concepts. It also helpful for our academic as well as our future research work. Now, I would like to thank President, Secretary, Member of Indian Society of Structural Engineering for arranging such a sessions. I would like to thank our all ISSC Student Chapter Coordinator for attending today's session. Not but least, I would like to thank our students for their patience throughout this session. Finally, with the permission of Chairperson, I am concluding today's session. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you. Thank you so much for everyone.